Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Brennan again, and today's video is going to be a BBSM review or talking about the Boss Barbell Strength Method. So first, to understand the program, it's important to know who created it. And this program was created by Dan Green of BBC, or Boss Barbell Club, which is located in Mountain View, California. Now, Dan is an elite powerlifter who just recently set a new world record in his weight class with a total of 2,083 pounds raw without knee wraps. So getting back to the basics of the program, it's a 10-week program that's actually broken up into 5 mini cycles. Now the mini cycles vary in length, with the shortest being 1.5 weeks and the longest being 2.5 weeks. Now the price of the program is going to be $350, and that price breakdown is $35 per week with a minimum 10-week commitment to start. However, once you've started the program, you can elect to continue it even further past that initial 10 weeks at intervals of either 6 or 10, depending on what you'd like to do. In addition to your 10 weeks of programming, you'll also gain access to the BBSM Facebook group, which is a private group. Here you can interact with Dan and other current BBSM members. Now, for part of this, I find it to be very beneficial, as Dan asks you to send him videos of your main back squat, bench, and deadlift work. However, he also gives you the option to post them on this privately held Facebook group. And I think this is really cool because what you can do is also get a lot of constructive criticism from some other great lifters running the same program, as well as some words of encouragement. Now, the BBSM program is really geared towards strength, specifically powerlifting, as mentioned earlier, and that's really evident in the way the program is laid out. So you'll be working out 5 days per week, with each day having a focus of either back squats, shoulders, front squats, bench press, or deadlifts. Now, later on in the program, the front squats and shoulder workouts will go away and will be replaced by more back squats and chest work. As far as off days goes, it goes 3 days of training, 1 day off, 2 days of training, 1 day off, and repeat. Now, unfortunately, this program is not yet available to the public, and as part of that, I signed a confidentiality agreement that said I would not disclose the actual programming to anyone outside the BBSM program. So I can't break down the program any further than what you've seen. However, as part of this, you do remember I mentioned that Dan requires you to send him your main footage for your back squat, bench press, and deadlift. So what I can do is share with you my journey throughout this program on the 10 weeks, as I put a commentary over that and made a nice, easy to access playlist on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to go ahead and show you where it is here, and I will link it in the description box below, but you can literally see almost every single one of my workouts, as well as get my own feedback and opinions on those particular days. Now, I have asked Dan if he plans on releasing this to the public, and he said he would do that sooner rather than later, so this should be something that's coming down the pipeline. However, my opinion on why you haven't seen it yet is only because he's been fairly busy competing himself, so recently setting that world record at the LA Fit Expo, and more recently this weekend he'll be competing at Raw Unity 7. However, if you're unwilling to wait, what I will do is right now on the screen, as well as in the description box below, put up his email address so you can either contact him for coaching yourself or to be put on the waiting list, as he's quite desirable as a coach because he gets results, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So prior to starting this program, I had actually just completed a couple powerlifting meets, and I used these numbers to base my beginning numbers with Dan off of. So I gave Dan a max in squat of 510 pounds, a max in bench press of 305, and it should be noted that this was a paused bench press and not a typical gym bench press, as well as a deadlift of 575. Now, after the 10 weeks was up, I did compete in another powerlifting competition to test where I was. Now, as far as my maxes go, both in the competition and through training, I was able to increase my squat to 550 pounds, my bench to 325, and my deadlift to 600, for a grand total of 85 pounds in just 10 weeks. I also wanted to show you video form of before and after. So on the left, you'll see my old max. On the right, you'll see the new one after 10 weeks of the BBSM programming. Overall, I would highly encourage anybody who has the opportunity to get on this program and is interested in building strength to go ahead and jump on it. Now, unfortunately, again, it's not available to the public yet, but when it does, I have a feeling that a lot of people will be doing it and be seeing some tremendous gains. I know personally that's one of the things that I thoroughly enjoyed. The fact that I've been training for so long, yet I haven't really seen this kind of progress in a long time, despite multiple programs I've been on, was really refreshing and has motivated me to sign up for another 10 weeks on the program. Now, some other questions I've been getting is in terms of my diet. I will say that I did not track macros during this 10 weeks. However, I was in a caloric surplus and gained roughly around 8 pounds or so. Now, I don't have anything real negative to say about the program, but I do have some feedback given on things that I found difficult, and that was mainly the back squats and front squats within 72 hours of each other. Now, this is something I would probably never program for myself, only because I find typically within 48 hours of training legs, that's when I'm the most sore. On this program, that's when Dan had me do front squats. However, that being said, squats was something that I saw the biggest increase in terms of overall percentages lifted. So I saw a 40-pound increase in my squat, and I really attribute it to some of the ways he set up this program. The only other thing I would say is towards the end of the couple of cycles, I got pretty worn out in terms of overall volume and weight lifted. However, Dan really stresses the importance of recovery, and he says you can and should, in most cases, take off the assistance work if you feel you need to. So that's going to wrap up my review of the program. If you guys have any further questions, please feel free to leave them in the description box below. And again, check out Dan online as well as my playlist of all the BBSM 10-week programming I did. In the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.